Brought to you by Get Well Yoga. Get back to doing what you love.
Let's continue with some shoulder rolls. Let's bring our shoulders forward. Let's just loosen the joints in the shoulders. Let's start with small rotations and then see if you can just make them a little bit larger. Now let's reverse the rolls. So start small. See if you can synchronize the breath to your movement. We're in no hurry. Just mindful of our movements. Larger shoulder rolls. From here, let's move into all fours, into cat-cow. I'll just move my blanket to the side. So we're coming on all fours. Your knees are lined up with your hips, and your wrists are lined up with your shoulders. As we inhale, let's bring our heart forward. Our shoulders come back and down. And exhale, your back rounds. Inhale, heart forward, shoulders are relaxed. Head lifts up slightly. And exhale, upper, mid, and lower back releases. Inhale, come forward, head forward, tailbone down, and exhale, release. One more. And on your next out breath, round your back. Now let's take our toes and take them over to the right. As we look over to the right, and the center of our body on the left moves into the opposite direction. Let's come back to center. As we inhale and then exhale, move your toes over to the left, look over to the left, and come back to center. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale and come back to center. From here, let's come forward, let's stand on our knees. Let's bring our right leg over and just extend that out. Your feet can be facing the front. Did we just lose the connection?
There we go.
Sorry, we thought we lost the connection. Your feet could be facing the front or just lined up to the side. Bend your left arm and raise it up to the sky as we lean over to our right. Let's come back to center. Take our left leg and extend that over. Bend your arm, raise it up to the sky, and lean over to your left. Let's come back to center. Let's do this once more. On your next in-breath, let's bring our legs over, raise the arm up to the sky, and extend that. That's a nice side angle extension. Come back to center. And once more. Raise your right arm. Lift that arm And extend that over. Feel that length on the side of your spine. Let's come back to center. This time we're going to bring our knee, bend our knee, and come up to a standing posture. I invite you all to just bring your feet hip distance apart. Sweep our arms out to the right as we bring our heels up. Palms come together and exhale. Bring our feet back down to the earth. Inhale, spread our arms out and wide up to the sky. And exhale. One more time, sweep your arms out and wide. Palms face each other. And exhale. Feet come down to the earth. Let's come and bring our arms forward this time as we raise our heels up. And come back down to center. Inhale, lead with your thumbs. Palms face each other and back to center. Once more, bring our arms up. Palms face each other and come back to the earth. Let's bring our feet slightly wider than your shoulders. We're going to come into a horse stance or a goddess pose as in yoga. Your knees are slightly bent. Your knees should be facing your feet. We're going to bring our arms, cross our arms in front of us and circle them. And bring them out back to the earth. Circle the arms in front. Bring them up to the sky. And once more. For the next rotation, let's move into Warrior Two. So your right foot is 90 degrees at a 90-degree angle. Your back foot slightly moves to your left. Your knees track with your ankles. Your knees are tracking with your second toe. Your knees are bent. On your next exhale, let's straighten the knees and bring both palms up to the sky. And let's come back down to the side. Let's bring our palms back up as the knees straighten. And bend the knees. Let's come back up to the sky. Palms face each other. And bend your knees. Let's now reverse the warrior. So bring the right hand up to the sky and your left hand back behind you. We're moving into a slight back bend. And let's come back to Warrior Two. Let's come back to horse stance. So our feet are about 30 degrees apart. Sweep our arms in front of us, circle them. And once more. This time we're going to move into Warrior Two. And on our next in-breath, let's move into a dynamic version of Warrior Two. Let's bring our arms above us and back to our side. Let's bring it up and back to Warrior two. Once more. From here, let's reverse our warrior. Let's come back to warrior two. And come back to center. Now let's bring our feet back about hip width apart and take your left hand over your right to our lower dantian. This is a form of qigong. This is the energy center. So let's see if we can just garner and cultivate some energy into our lower dantian. See if you can relax the shoulders. Feel the energy cultivating in the dantian. As we move into introducing you, this is the second part of our movement from last week, into the animal movements. We're going to move into introduce you to an animal called the monkey. And the monkey symbolizes the earth, the spleen, and the stomach. It could be your cheeky monkey. So as we bring our arms, our hands are clenched. Let's unfurl your wrists and bring them forward. And take your right hand and place it under the wrist. And then we're going to swim our arms back to center. Let's do this once more. This time we're going to move this by bringing our foot forward. So our wrists are right in front of our lower dantian. Let's move our foot forward as we bring our hand in front of us. Then we swim, bring our foot back. And this is a fast movement. Monkeys are fast and agile. So let's try this once more. And let's move and swim. Hands back to our lower dantian. Wrists unfurl, hand comes forward, hands to your elbow, and circle. Once more. From here, let's move into goddess pose. So your feet are slightly wider than your shoulders. As we introduce you to another animal, this time it's the deer. The deer represents water, represents your kidneys. The deer is graceful. In traditional martial arts, they used a lot of animals to help, because they felt that the human instinct didn't have the fighting instinct to live in the wild. So they were using a lot of animals as part of their form of healing. So the deer again, we're going to have hoofs. So our fingers are going to be basically facing each other. And then we're also going to have antlers. So you're going to take your middle finger and your ring finger, and these will represent your antlers. So let's start by bringing our feet to a diagonal. And you're going to rest on the heel of your foot. Your weight is shifted onto your back leg. Now we're going to take the hoofs and bring them to the opposite side of our leg. And then bring the antlers up as we come up overhead. And keep your left arm up as your right arm comes down behind you. Bend your right knee. Look over at your left heel. And then let's take that right arm back. The right hoof meets, the right antler meets the left. And we'll take the arms back to meet each other as the right leg comes back to meet the left. Let's try this once more. Let's bring the left foot forward. Your heel is resting on the earth. Your hoofs are in the opposite direction. They circle above your head. Then your hoofs become antlers. Let's bring that left arm behind you. As you look over to your heel, your right arm stays above. Now let's have that left arm meet the right and circle that back over to the other side as your left foot comes back to meet the right. Let's try this once more. Let's bring that right foot at a diagonal in front of you. Let's take the hoofs and bring them over to the side, graceful as a deer. That's great. Antlers. Keep that left arm up to the sky, the right arm comes down. Look over to your heels. And let's come back up. Right arm meets left. And let's circle that back down. Once more. Left foot at a diagonal. Hoofs come up. They circle up above you. Antlers appear. Right arm stays above as the left arm comes back. Look over at your heel. Left arm comes back up, meets the right. And your hoofs appear. And left foot meets the right. Let's sweep our arms out and up, and then just clear. I'll pass this over to you, John.
Okay, I'll just adjust that camera there. Thanks for staying with us, everybody. We'll end at 10:50 today. Give you a better look at this with the camera, and Mano, maybe I'll swap places with you just so that the lighting may be a little better here, maybe. Let's start with the clearing movement. So coming to hip width, shoulder width apart with your stance. Taking nourishing breath through the tip of the nose. We're just breathing politely in and out of the nose. And I want you to imagine the spine lengthening. So we're lengthening through the tailbone all the way down to the feet into the earth, and we're lengthening in the opposite direction. Sense this action of lengthening out through the crown of the head and down through to the earth, grounding us into the earth, connecting to the earth, and connecting up into the sky, into the heavens. And the hands now face palm up, about hip width, shoulder width apart. Inhaling, hands ascend up to chest height. Exhaling very slowly. Lengthen, deepen, and slow down the breath. Just notice if you're locking anywhere. Are you locking any of the joints? See as you exhale if you can Release any locking behind the knees, perhaps in the jaw. As we unlock the joints, we unlock the muscles as well. And we allow then for a nice flow of energy throughout the entire body. We're looking at the entire sum of the parts here in qigong and yoga. Rather than the form itself, just think about how all of the parts may fit together. This is the awareness that we cultivate. It's that sense of meditation that Meadow led us with, where we understand and begin to be aware of where things are happening in the body. Last one, inhaling, perhaps toes rise, spread toes wide. Exhaling, widespread toes slowly touch down. As we come to a slightly wider stance, hands come to prayer at the heart, and we're making a snake-like movement with the spine. The hands stay fairly close into the chest, maybe about 6 inches or so. And we begin to set our focus right over the middle fingers, and the hands and the fingers are together. And we're bending deeply at the wrists and elbows, and we begin to make this snake-like movement, nourishing the spine, articulating all of the 24 vertebrae of the spine, setting our gaze right over the middle finger as it glides to the east and to the west. We're transitioning the weight in the direction of the hands and slowly making the movement less big, more gradual. Hands come back to the heart. As we take the hands out wide, chest gets bigger, heart gets bigger. Exhaling, bending at the knees, a ball of energy between the lagao points here, an important energy signature between the palms. Inhaling, toes rise, spread toes wide. Exhaling, ball of energy. Chest gets bigger, heart gets bigger. The hands don't touch in the front where it's still a ball of energy. Imagining this ball of energy maybe about 3 or 4 inches apart. Shoulder blades draw back and down. That's the physiological standpoint. See if you can come into sensation now and just feel where things are happening. Then on the next movement, I invite you to twist over to the left. We'll mirror you. Coming back to the midline, ball of energy as you bend the knees. Twisting in the opposite direction. Wonderful. Both hands come up in a clearing gesture. Slowly back down through the midline. About 1 inch or 2 apart. Lengthen the exhale. Unlock any jaws or knee joints. As we come into a movement called knocking on heaven's door, we're just lightly moving the arms. First of all, let's just begin to move the arms without touching the torso. So there's some room between the arms, the hands, and the torso. Again, that sense of relaxation. Relaxation is a response mechanism, so we're telling the body, if you will, informing it to relax. Then we begin to knock with the back of the hand into the kidney in the back body, the lower back, wherever the back of the hand reaches to today, into the back. And it lightly taps into the back body. And on the next breath, I want you to take the hand now up to the lung point, right at the pectoral muscle below the shoulder head. So we're tapping on the back of the lower back and at the shoulder head. And there's a slight rotation in the spine as we twist and move. And slow it down. The arms just float from side to side, back, away from the torso, making the move less gradual, slowing down. Wonderful. As both hands come up to the shoulder heads and then out to the sides, we'll take that tapping motion into a movement for meridian cleansing. These meridians through our body, in yoga we call them chakras, and here in qigong known as meridians, and we're going to access all of those meridians by tapping across the top of the arm out to the fingertips. Turn the palm up and come along the inside of the arm to the lung point here, and tap firmly as we move hands and outstretch the left hand and come atop of the left hand. Palm faces up along the inside through the lung point. Both hands now come down the outside of the leg. Along the inside of the leg to the belly, to the lower dantian, or agni in yoga. Down the outside of the left leg, along the inside of the left leg, back up to extending the right arm and tapping over the top once more, into the lung point. Cultivating vitality, then releasing, smoothing the energy. Now pressing firmly down the outside of the leg, pressing firmly along the inside of the leg, down the outside, letting go, coming back to that sense of letting go. There may even be a pause at the bottom of the exhale as you descend down to the earth. Then smoothing atop of the outstretched right arm out towards the fingertips. Hand flips over as we press firmly along the inside of the arm to the lung point. Nourishing breath, exhaling as we lengthen. Inhaling as we gather energy. Exhaling as we release. Inhale, gather. Exhale, release. One more time. Perhaps we extend that stretch and stretch a little further out over the fingertips. Wherever you can get to today. Pressing firmly down the outside of the leg. Inhaling up to the belly. Exhaling down the outside of the leg. Pressing firmly. Wonderful. Both hands come up in a clearing gesture, releasing that last movement very slowly through the air. As we take the hands now and interlace the fingers and place them back behind the head. So the elbows spread wide, chest gets bigger, heart gets bigger, perhaps elevate the toes, spread toes wide. Place the wide spread toes back down to earth as we draw the elbows together and come down into a squat as best you can today. Inhaling as we come up, elbows spread wide, and there's a slight back bend here, but engage the abdominals so we're not dumping into the lower back. We don't want to compress the lower part of the spine, so keep lengthening out through the crown of the head and down through the feet. As we exhale, draw elbows together, a deep squat. Mary Jo spoke about the monkey. The monkey would spring from the ground. It was involved in a lot of ground action, ground fighting. Chest gets bigger, heart gets bigger, perhaps the toes rise. Exhaling. If you want to challenge yourself here and take this a little bit further, as we come into a deep squat, you can raise the heels off the earth. Find a point of focus as you draw the elbows together. Inhaling, toes rise. Exhaling, heels rise. Last one. Monkey squat. Both hands come out as we take a nice wide goddess stance, or qigong if you're in the dojo. And in martial arts and the dojo, we actually have the feet facing forward, but we all come out of the factory a bit differently. You may have heard me say that a lot in yoga classes. So we may have an internally rotated femur. We may have an externally rotated femur. See what feels best in your knee joint today. For some of us, that's externally rotating the feet out to the side and tracking the knee over the foot. So, or if that feels better, to have the feet face forward, whatever feels best for you. Slight tuck of the pelvis, very slight tuck, and engaging the abdominals will help get that action of the tuck. As we take both fists now, and a fist is where we have the thumb wrapped around the fingers, and we're drawing them back to the hip, palm faces up. And then we're extending out to the side and grabbing or gathering a ball of energy into the body. Inhaling, gathering. So we get a nice lateral stretch here. Our culture, we're stuck at 90 degrees, either moving forward or back as we walk or run or ride a bicycle, or even at just going back and forth in one dimension. We aren't doing enough lateral stretches, and the body's designed to move laterally. We get to strengthen and lengthen all of the fascia, all of the muscles and tendons in the side body. Gathering energy, sense of vitality. One more time. Wonderful. And releasing, the hands come up in a clearing gesture, slowly down. The fingers point back behind us now. As they come to eye height, fingers come forward. Inhaling, heels rise. Exhaling very slowly. Sharp exhale as the back of the hands release and palms come towards the lower dantian. Let's try that one more time. Inhaling, arms sweep up, fingers point back behind us, and then slowly lower as they reach eye height. Fingers face forward. Inhaling, heels rise. Exhaling, slowly descending. Wonderful. As we look at the time and realize we've got about 10 minutes left, so just some hip circles to release any tension in the hips. As we prepare for moving crane. We did a version of moving crane for those that joined us last week. Here's another version of a great balance pose that we draw inspiration from the animal kingdom, continuing on with the crane. We take the hands up, and the hands and elbows, wrists and elbows bend deeply, and we're gliding as though we're gliding through the air, and we're supporting into the earth with one leg and the other leg is raised. If it feels better for you today just to have the foot on the earth, that's a fine pose too. And we're just bending down through the legs. Otherwise, raising that leg and coordinating the movement with the leg and the arms. Find a point of focus, perhaps at the horizon. Steady mind, steady body, as we find a drishti, or a single point of focus. As we move gracefully to the other side, foot touches down as we raise the opposite leg. And again, feel free to keep that leg on the earth if that feels better for you today. Beautiful, both hands come up. Slowly back down. As we come into a version of Warrior 2, Mary Jo showed us Warrior 2 before, where we come into the front leg bent, strong straight back leg. Inhaling back, arm scoops back behind us. Arms are at shoulder height. We're setting our focus over the middle finger. See if you can draw your gaze over the middle finger. And rather than leaning too far forward or too far back, center the torso. Spread the toes wide in the front foot. Notice if you're gripping, strong straight back leg. Now we're going to take the back hand to the lower back. Making a fist, take the hand to the lower back. And then the hand in front bends deeply at the elbow and turns to the left, or in my case the left, it could be the right in your case. And there's a slight back bend here. Reference the hand into the lower back and actually draw that lower hand into the back to help lengthen out through the crown of the head. Coming back to center. As we move gracefully to the other side, hands come out as we take now the left foot forward. I'll mirror you. Strong straight back leg. Set your gaze over the middle finger. Careful to adjust your stance at the center. The torso is centered between the legs. Begin to make a fist and take the back hand to the lower back. As we bend deeply at the elbow, we're setting our gaze at the fist that's at shoulder height now. And there's a slight back bend. Coming back to Warrior Two. And releasing the arms up to the heavens, slowly back down. As the hands now come towards the heart, walk the feet about hip width, shoulder width apart. Palms face up. Inhaling, arms spread wide. Exhaling, hands come slowly down through midline. Hands at heart height come forward and out to the far horizons. An offering. Gesture of offering. Pose is called offering at the temple, or offering flowers at the temple. And through these actions, we can perhaps mirror some of the actions in our life. Perhaps they reflect on our actions as we perhaps make an offering. What have we got to offer out into the world? Perhaps knowing when to accept and knowing when to give. Knowing when to receive and when to offer. Hands come slowly back down through the midline, very slowly, and we'll end as we started with a nice clearing gesture. The palms come up to chest height, exhaling very slowly. Begin to lengthen, deepen, and slow down the breath. Wonderful. You make a fist here, and this is a sign of peace. The hand is a blanket, if you will, over the fist, indicating peace. As we join the feet together and bow, as we look at each other and acknowledge our journey, as we take the hands to the heart and thank ourselves for taking this journey to nourish the mind and body, and all those that support our practice. Namaste. Much peace, everybody. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for joining us today.